Leave before the cops get here. The words didn't just echo, they detonated. Lena Whitmore, shift manager, stood center lobby, finger raised like a warning flare, her voice slicing through the crystal air of the Horizon Grand Hotel. Her navy uniform was crisp, her tone even sharper, and she wasn't whispering. She wanted people to hear. Across from her stood a black woman, composed, centered, silent. No entourage, no designer bag, just a tailored white blazer over a black top and a small leather folio held calmly in one hand. Her presence felt disruptive, not because it was loud, but because it refused to move. To Lena, that was unacceptable. "Ma'am, this is private property. You've been warned," Lena added, stepping forward now, the heels of her boots clacking with unnecessary force. Behind her, two more staff members watched, unsure. Beside her, a security guard placed one hand on his belt, not on the weapon, but close enough to make a point. Still, the woman didn't flinch. In fact, she hadn't said a single word. She simply stood there, unapologetic, unbothered. And that to Lena felt threatening. From the far end of the lobby, a mother pulled her child closer. A businessman in a gray suit paused mid-conversation. The front desk clerk looked up, eyes wide, then quickly looked away. Something was happening, something real, and in the center of it all was this woman, unmoving, undisturbed, uninvited. "Call security." "I said call them now," Lena snapped. The security guard shifted, hesitating. That's when the woman spoke. Low, even, unhurried. "Before we continue," she said, her eyes never leaving Lena's. "Where are you watching from?" The line felt out of place until she turned, just slightly, toward the growing circle of phones and faces. "Drop your city or country in the comments below," she said. "And if you believe in dignity and justice, hit like and subscribe. These stories spark change, and we're glad you're here." Now, back to Lena. A beat of silence. Then, like a second slap, Lena's voice returned, louder now. "You don't belong here. This isn't your kind of hotel." The guard moved closer. The woman didn't step back. She stepped forward, 1 inch, just enough. "Let me help you understand something," she said, still calm, still centered. "I'm not here for trouble. I'm here for a scheduled walkthrough." Lena scoffed. The air in the lobby wasn't just tense, now it was wired, buzzing. Every eye in the room trained on the quiet war unfolding between a uniform and a presence. And nobody, not even the guests sipping cocktails in the corner, had any idea what was about to happen in the next 2 minutes. But the woman in white did. She always knew. Lena's laugh was small, but sharp. "Scheduled walkthrough?" she repeated, "as if we'd let you anywhere near our executive floors." She didn't need to say more. The emphasis on "you" already said it all. The security guard, early 30 seconds, badge clipped at an angle, took one slow step forward. "Ma'am," he said, not unkindly, "I'm gonna have to ask you to step aside. You're blocking check-in." Still calm, the woman adjusted the folder in her hand. "This lobby belongs to me," she said, not as a declaration, but as a fact. "Blocking check-in isn't my intention, but I do intend to finish what I came here for." The lobby's quiet grew tense. A couple near the velvet ropes stopped whispering. The concierge tapped nervously on her iPad, eyes darting from Lena to the woman in white. Then a new voice joined in, louder, younger. "She's not on the system." It was Marissa, the junior front desk clerk, fresh out of hospitality school, lips painted too red for morning shift, but eyes already trained by her manager. She waved her mouse in the air like proof. "I just checked. No Dana Brooks, no walkthrough scheduled. She's not a guest." There it was. The name. The woman didn't react. Lena, however, seized the moment. "See?" she said, turning to the small crowd now forming near the elevators. "This is what they do. Walk in, claim something, demand access. It's all fake. A con." The word con hit like a match on dry leaves. Still, the woman in white didn't raise her voice. Instead, she looked at Marissa. "What system are you using?" Her tone wasn't aggressive, it was instructional, like a teacher reviewing a student's work. "Front desk goes," Marissa shot back. "Same as always." "Then check again," the woman replied. "Under Holdings Group, Internal Audit Branch." Marissa blinked, hesitated. Click. Lena rolled her eyes. "Oh, stop wasting our time." And then, without warning, she stepped forward and grabbed the folder from the woman's hand. "You want a scene?" Lena hissed. "Because you're this close to one." That's when a soft voice emerged from the left. "I wouldn't do that if I were you." It was Jorge Housekeeping, early 20 seconds, mop still in hand. He'd been watching from the edge of the marble hallway. Now, he raised his phone just enough to show the red circle recording. Lena froze. So did Marissa. The woman turned her head slightly, finally addressing Jorge. Please put it down, she said gently. This isn't about the camera, it's about accountability. Jorge hesitated, then lowered it. But the moment had shifted. Now eyes were really watching. Phones weren't just present, they were ready. Even the guests checking in had slowed their steps. Because this wasn't just a check-in delay anymore. This was something else. And for the first time, Lena looked unsure, but it was too late. She had taken the folder. She had crossed the line. The woman extended her hand. Return it, she said simply. Lena didn't move. Last chance, the woman added. And somehow, that quiet sentence held more weight than any raised voice ever could. Lena didn't return the folder. She turned her back instead, flipping it open like she had every right to its contents. Auditor, my ass, she muttered. Fake credentials. No reservation. No ID. Security, she snapped, not even looking back. Detain her. We'll let the cops sort it out. That's when it snapped. Not in her voice in the room. Phones came up. 3, maybe 4 at once. From the couple by the elevator. From the concierge desk. From the guest in the navy suit sipping espresso, who now stood. The woman still hadn't moved. The security guard stepped closer, now directly in front of her. He wasn't smiling, but he wasn't certain either. Ma'am, he said softer than before. I'm gonna need your ID. She didn't speak. She didn't reach. Instead, she tapped her earpiece once. Activate protocol, she said, her voice low but crystal clear. Timestamp. Begin live trace. Lock system ID. Brooks. Sigma. A pause. Then a reply, smooth and immediate, from her assistant's voice through the comm. Protocol active. Logging staff IDs. Cross-referencing access logs. Internal compliance alert triggered. Lena turned sharply. What are you doing? What did she just say? The woman raised her eyes to meet hers. I gave you chances, she said. More than I needed to. Marissa, still at the desk, blinked at her monitor. Lena? Not now. No, really, Marissa insisted, voice cracking slightly. Something just changed. The system, I don't know what this island. It says internal audit override. Red status. Lena stormed over. What? She leaned over the desk and stared. The screen had shifted, flashing red, with the words, Owner override, D. Brooks, divided by holdings exec. Lena's lips parted, then closed again. Silence. I told you to check again, the woman said. Jorge stepped forward from housekeeping, quietly placing the folder back on the nearby counter. He hadn't handed it to Lena. He hadn't needed to. Lena's voice cracked like ice under pressure. This is a stunt. Some tech trick. The woman stepped forward, slowly now. Her voice dropped lower. If it's a stunt, why is your login locked? Lena glanced at the screen again. Access denied. And now the real fear set in. Not because of what the woman had said, but because of what she hadn't needed to say. Behind the concierge desk, Elena, a young black woman in a navy vest, looked up, eyes wide. She's the owner? No one answered, but everyone heard. The security guard backed off one step. His radio crackled, but he didn't reach for it. Then, the voice in the woman's earpiece returned. Dana, your ID is fully confirmed across internal systems. External alert drafted. Legal team notified. Dana Brooks, now fully named, looked directly at Lena. This was your lobby for 15 minutes. Then she added, quiet but deadly, now it's mine again. For 3 full seconds, nobody breathed. Then Marissa stepped back from her monitor like it had burned her. I didn't know, she whispered. Her voice was barely audible over the murmur rising in the lobby. I didn't know. Behind her, the concierge Elena lowered her headset, her eyes locked on Dana. I saw your name last week, she murmured. In the internal memo. But they told us it was just corporate paperwork, not you. Dana didn't answer. She didn't need to. Jorge, still holding his mop, looked at the others around him and said simply, she told the truth. You just didn't want to hear it. Lena wasn't finished. She was scrambling now, grabbing her work phone, tapping in a rush. It doesn't matter, she barked. This can be explained. Miscommunication. Her screen buzzed red. Access suspended. Marissa's did the same. So did the desk terminal. So did the security guard's tablet. One by one, like dominoes, the digital control of the front lobby was being peeled away from them. Dana's voice didn't rise. It lowered, and that's what made it hit harder. Every system in this hotel runs through my board, she said. And every login is now being traced. The security guard finally spoke, unsure, looking toward Dana. Ma'am, I didn't know. I was just following. You followed silence, Dana said. That's different. A guest by the espresso bar clapped once, a dry, heavy sound in a room full of quiet guilt. Lena turned to the cameras overhead. "You're all being manipulated," she hissed. "This is some kind of performance." But her voice cracked on the last syllable. Across the room, a man in a tailored gray suit, mid-50 seconds, clearly corporate, lowered his phone and said, "She doesn't need to perform. The building badge I used to check in this morning?" Her name was embossed at the back. Lena's mouth opened. Nothing came out. Then Dana moved. Not fast, just one step toward the desk. Lena Whitmore, assistant manager, reassigned last quarter after 2 guest complaints, both uninvestigated. Lena flinched. "I didn't write the report. You buried it." Marissa raised her hand suddenly. "Please, I'm not like her. I didn't know you were. I was just doing my job." "And what did that job require?" Dana asked softly. "To check IDs or to judge faces?" Marissa shrank. At the far end, a mother with 2 kids pulled out her phone. "This is justice," she whispered to herself, hitting record. Dana turned slightly, just enough for the lobby to hear her next sentence. "I'm not here to embarrass you," she said. "I'm here to end the way you operate." Then, into her earpiece, "Nia, begin staff access rollback. Start with front desk. Priority level. Lena, Marissa, and security badge 1041. Nia's voice replied, "Confirmed. Locking systems now." Across the lobby, security badge 1041 buzzed red. The guard looked down, stunned. "I'm suspended?" he said to no one in particular. Dana finally looked him in the eye. "No, you're visible." Dana didn't raise her voice. She didn't have to. From the second Nia confirmed the access rollback, the power in the lobby shifted, not through shouting, not through chaos, but through silence. Strategic silence. The kind that made people check their own behavior. Lena looked around wildly. "Wait, you're just going to take my job away like that?" Her voice cracked on job. Dana turned, calmly. "You already did, I'm just formalizing the paperwork." Ugh. Marissa backed into the wall, her ID badge swinging slightly. "I didn't call security. That wasn't me." She looked to Elena for backup, but Elena stayed silent. She didn't need to protect anyone anymore. That's when a man in a tailored blazer, mid-40 seconds, African-American, business traveler type, stepped forward from the guest line. He pointed gently at Dana, then turned to the room. "Y'all saw that, right? She never yelled, never cussed, never raised a hand." He paused, and yet they treated her like a threat. Another guest chimed in, younger woman, early 30 seconds, holding a toddler. They called the cops on her for standing still. From the corner, Jorge whispered to the person next to him, "She owns this place and they tried to remove her from her own lobby." Lena looked around, eyes darting like a hunted thing. "People get things wrong. It doesn't mean they should be fired on the spot." Dana didn't flinch. She stepped forward. "Lena," she said slowly, "I didn't fire you for being wrong. I'm letting you go because when you were unsure, you chose hostility. You chose to humiliate." Lena opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Dana tapped her earpiece again. "Nia, initiate full revocation. Terminate Lena Whitmore. Effective immediately." Nia's reply was crisp. "Termination logged. Badge deactivated. Access disabled. HR notified." A small sound followed the beep of Lena's phone losing hotel network. No access, no calendar, no company mail. Lena looked down at the device like it had betrayed her. In the background, the espresso machine hissed, the only sound still functioning. Then applause, soft, scattered, but it grew. A guest clapped. Then 2, then 10. Phones lifted again, not to expose, but to remember. To witness, Dana didn't smile. She just turned and looked at Elena, the concierge who had stood silently through it all. "Elena Ruiz," Dana said. "Step forward, please." Elena did, unsure. Her hands trembled slightly. "You saw what was happening. You didn't make it worse." Dana looked her in the eye. "You stayed still. That matters." Elena blinked. "I didn't know what to say." "That was the right thing," Dana replied. Then she turned to the room. "This hotel doesn't just carry my name," she said. "It carries weight. The weight of how we treat people when we think no one's watching." A long pause. Then, "Well, I was watching." The glass doors at the far end of the lobby swooshed open. Black leather shoes, blue suit, company lapel pin. David Sinclair, general manager of the Horizon Grand, stepped in with the kind of posture only years of corporate detachment could teach. He scanned the room like it owed him answers. Phones, frozen staff, a woman in a white blazer standing in front of a desk, and one of his assistant managers clutching her useless phone like a lifeline. "What's going on here?" he asked, his voice smooth, rehearsed. Lena's eyes lit up like a drowning hand spotting a rope. "David, thank God. This woman, she's activated some kind of fake protocol. She's hijacked the system, and now she's locked me out of everything." Dana didn't even turn. David stepped closer, clearly annoyed. "You need to step away from the front desk," he said to Dana, trying to reassert order. That's when Elena spoke. "Sir," she said, hesitant. He turned. "She's Dana Brooks." The name didn't land like a surprise, not on David's face. He blinked. Once. Then again, slower. "Excuse me?" "She's the Dana Brooks Holdings internal audit." Elena didn't say it loudly, but loud enough. David's expression froze. "Ma'am," he said, now addressing Dana directly, "is that correct?" Dana met his eyes. "You approved the last quarterly report I signed." David hesitated. He remembered. "You were in the ownership summit call last month." His tone had shifted. Dana nodded. "I was." A beat, then another. David exhaled sharply. "Lena," he said flatly, turning toward her. "Step away from the guest. Now." Lena flinched. "What?" "She's not a guest. She's your employer." "I didn't know." David cut her off. "You should have. You saw the name in training briefs. You dismissed it. That's on you." Lena opened her mouth, but this time, even she didn't believe her own defense. Dana turned slightly to face David. "David," she said, tone crisp, "you knew who I was from the moment you saw me. You didn't speak up until it became a problem for you." The lobby held its breath. David cleared his throat. I wasn't sure." Dana stepped forward. "Neither were they, but they chose panic. You chose neutrality." She paused. "That's not leadership. That's hiding." The words didn't shout. They landed. David stood still, shame barely contained in his jawline. Then Dana tapped her earpiece again. "Nia, add David Sinclair to the review list. Suspend all director-level privileges until further notice." Nia's voice came through, cool and corporate. "Logged. Suspension initiated. Authority flagged pending board review." David's phone buzzed. He looked down. "Session expired. Access gone. I was trying to help," he whispered. Dana didn't blink. "Then next time, try sooner." No one moved for a moment. Then Elena stepped fully out from behind the concierge podium, a small but irreversible act. "I saw her name in the system last week," she said, this time louder, stronger. "No one told us to treat her any different, but I remembered." Dana turned to her. "And you said nothing?" Elena nodded slowly. "I was scared." Dana studied her face. "And now?" "I'm done being scared of the wrong people." There it was, the first ripple. Then Jorge, still holding his mop, shoes squeaking slightly, stepped forward too. "I don't have corporate clearance," he said, glancing around. "But I knew this was wrong the moment she got shouted at for standing still." Dana looked at him. "What made you record?" He shrugged. "Because I've seen this before, and I knew no one would believe her if we didn't." Marissa pressed her back against the wall. "This is insane." But her voice lacked conviction now. She was shrinking, diminishing. A junior bellhop, barely 20, name tag reading Tree, stepped forward from the hallway. "I saw Lena grab the folder," he said, not accusing, just stating. And the guard didn't stop her. He just waited for her signal. Tree paused, then added, "If this was any other guest, we'd be apologizing right now." The sentence floated in the air like a verdict. David Sinclair stayed quiet. Lena, pale and sweating, opened her mouth again. But Dana spoke first. "There is a reason I walked in without warning," she said, now addressing everyone's staff and guests alike. "No entourage, no announcement, no title." She paced slowly, calmly. "I wanted to see how this hotel functions when the cameras are off and the names don't sparkle." She turned. I saw enough. Guests had stopped sipping their drinks. Some stood. Some simply nodded like they'd just seen behind a curtain. Dana faced the staff again. "Elena Ruiz," she said clearly. "You're being moved to interim lobby manager, effective immediately." Gasps rippled from both staff and guests. Elena blinked. I didn't do that much." "You did enough," Dana replied. "You didn't escalate. You didn't run. You listened." Then she turned to Jorge. "And you reminded the room to remember." Jorge looked down, a little stunned. From across the lobby, someone clapped again, slower this time, deliberate. A guest, then another. The applause wasn't just for Dana anymore. It was for everyone who'd chosen not to stay quiet. Dana lifted her chin. "This hotel isn't just a brand," she said. "It's a mirror. And in that mirror, some saw guilt. Others saw redemption. But all of them saw her. The double glass doors opened again. 2 officers stepped in standard patrol blues, badge glinting under the lobby chandeliers. One male, one female. Calm posture, but alert eyes. "Afternoon," the male officer said, scanning the lobby. It was quiet, too quiet for a hotel this size. He looked at the front desk, then at Lena, then at Dana. "We got a call about a disturbance," he said. "Someone trespassing, causing disruption?" Lena stepped forward. "Yes, that's her." She pointed again, but this time, her hand trembled. "She's not a guest, no reservation, refused to leave. The officer held up a hand. "Ma'am, slow down, we'll take it from here." The female officer turned to Dana. "Name, please." Dana didn't move. "Elena," she said calmly, eyes still on the officer. "Kindly show Officer Hayes your system dashboard." Elena, composed now, tapped her screen, flipped it toward them. The officer's brow furrowed. "Owner override, D. Brooks. Board executive, Brooks Holdings Group. Internal audit, active status." Officer Hayes took a breath. "Wait, you're Ms. Brooks?" Dana nodded once. "Yes." "I believe." She said it not with pride, not with attitude, but like someone confirming the temperature. "Undeniable. Factual." The male officer looked at Lena. "You called us on your employer?" Lena's lips parted. No words came out. Behind her, David Sinclair stepped forward, his suit slightly looser now, like authority had deflated from his shoulders. "I can confirm it," he said, almost sheepishly. "She's our owner." The officers exchanged a glance. "Ma'am," Officer Hayes said to Dana, "we're sorry to have bothered you. Is there anything you need from us?" Dana turned to the room. Her voice was soft, but it traveled. "I need you to remember this." She looked directly at Lena. They weren't called to keep peace. They were called to preserve comfort at the cost of truth. Then back to the officers. "No further action required. Just be careful who gets your badge next time." Officer Hayes gave a respectful nod. "Yes, ma'am." They turned and left. The sound of the door closing behind them echoed like a gavel. Lena sank into herself. The badge she once clung to meant nothing now. Dana looked at Jorge, Elena, Trey, then the guests. "Some of you watched. Some of you recorded. A few of you stood up." She paused. "I hope next time it won't take all this for justice to look familiar." And just like that, without a speech, without applause, Dana walked toward the executive elevator. It opened before she even reached for the button, because this building finally recognized her. The elevator closed behind her with a soft hush. No music, no blinking ads, just silence. Dana exhaled slow, long like she had been holding her breath through the entire lobby confrontation. She wasn't angry. She was tired. The stainless steel walls reflected her silhouette centered, polished, composed. But inside, another version of her stirred. 15 years old, Birmingham. A private school conference room that smelled like old wood and clean lies. She sat across from the principal and two teachers, all white, all smiling too politely. Her mother sat beside her, jaw clenched, purse in her lap like a weapon she couldn't use. "We're just concerned, Mrs. Brooks," the principal had said. Dana's presence, it intimidates the other students. Dana hadn't spoken, not when they called her too assertive. Not when they claimed her handwriting looked aggressive. Not even when they asked her to consider transferring to an environment better suited for her energy. Her mother had looked at her that night and said, "One day they'll beg to be in a room you control." The elevator dinged softly. Floor 26. Dana blinked back into the present. She adjusted her blazer, smoothed the corner of her folder still crisp, still closed. A single notification lit up on her phone. HR waiting in executive boardroom. She didn't move yet. Instead, she turned to her reflection in the chrome elevator wall, not to check her appearance, to see herself. "You didn't raise your voice," she whispered. "You raised the standard." The elevator opened, bright hallway, polished floors, silence again, but this time, it felt earned. She stepped out, and as the doors slid shut behind her, she left that 15-year-old girl in the elevator, not forgotten, just, no longer needing to defend herself. The boardroom was glass-walled, minimalist, cold. HR sat at the far end, a woman in a charcoal gray suit, laptop open, fingers ready. Next to her, two regional directors from Holdings Group, one legal rep and one compliance officer. All eyes turned as Dana entered. She didn't rush. She didn't greet. She simply sat at the head of the table because that's where she belonged. "Miss Brooks," HR began, "we've reviewed the incident report from this morning. The override logs are intact. Staff suspensions have been issued per your directive." Dana nodded once. "Has security pulled all camera footage?" "Yes." "Send the full raw file to legal, time-stamped from 11:47 a.m. to 12:22 p.m. "Done." She turned to the regional director. Review every flagged employee. I want a behavioral audit, not just performance. Cross-reference guest complaints in the last 12 months. Anything brushed off gets reopened. He hesitated. Yes, Miss Brooks. Dana leaned forward. Marissa King, front desk assistant. No prior record. Young. Impressionable. Easily led. Put her on a 3-month probation. Partner her with Elena. Let her relearn the lobby through eyes that actually see. HR typed quickly. Elena Ruiz? She asked. Dana didn't blink. Promote her. Effective now. Full training. Senior concierge privileges. And back pay for the weekend shifts she covered last quarter when Lena called out. HR looked up. That's unusually specific. I read schedules, Dana replied. And I remember who shows up. She turned to the second regional director, David Sinclair. Review for negligence. Freeze bonus. Pending. To be replaced? He asked. Dana shook her head. To be rewatched. He may stay, but not at that desk. A pause. Then the words that shifted the room. We don't need louder leaders. We need clearer ones. No one spoke. The legal rep cleared his throat. And Lena Whitmore? Dana's expression hardened slightly. Severance denied. Release with cause. Hisar may coordinate her exit, but I want her to feel every locked door she used to walk through. A long silence followed. Then she stood. This isn't a purge. This is a reset. She walked to the window, overlooking the city below. We serve hundreds of guests a day. We smile. We offer mints. But if bias still sits behind the desk, then no renovation matters. She turned back. From this point forward, front-facing staff will rotate monthly. Not for punishment, for perspective. The HR director looked up, eyebrows slightly raised. That's a new model. Dana nodded. New is overdue. Then softer, but just as final. And remind everyone in uniform. Guests aren't the only ones reviewing us. Sometimes the owner's already standing in the lobby. The elevator opened on the lobby level. Dana stepped out. Same white blazer, same leather folder. But this time, the room moved differently. No whispers, no tension, just stillness. Respectful, present. Elena stood at the front desk, now elevated, composed in a navy blazer that finally fit her status. Her name tag no longer read concierge. It read lobby manager. She saw Dana and smiled, the kind that doesn't come from obligation, but from understanding. Welcome back, Miss Brooks. Dana nodded. A bellhop nearby, Trey, straightened his stance. Another guest moved aside, not in fear, but in recognition. Even Jorge from housekeeping stood taller. His mop leaned neatly against the wall. Someone had already polished the marble floor where Dana had once been ordered to leave. Lena's absence was louder than her presence ever was. Dana approached the desk. Elena, she said, voice low but warm. Yes, ma'am? No, ma'am, today. Elena's smile widened just a bit. Copy that, Miss Brooks. Dana paused. Her eyes scanned the lobby. The chandeliers still glowed. The smell of citrus cleaner still lingered, but something was different now. She was different now, no longer testing the system. Now she was the system. A guest near the entrance, an older black woman with silver hair and a cane, watched Dana with soft eyes. She nodded, just once. Dana nodded back. For a moment, neither of them needed to speak. They understood how many lobbies they'd been stared at, how many rooms they had to earn access to, how many apologies they'd never received but had given anyway. Jorge stepped forward. Ma'am, sorry, Miss Brooks. She looked over. He fumbled for words, rubbing his palms against his uniform. I just want to say it meant something. What you did. Dana tilde Herr Hill. What did it mean to you? Jorge took a breath. That I don't have to wait till I'm in charge to stand for something. Dana held his gaze. Good, she said softly. Because sometimes the ones in charge are the quietest cowards. A soft laugh escaped Elena. Dana smiled. Then she turned back to the main doors, the same ones she'd almost been dragged out of just hours earlier. This time, they opened before she reached them. Elena called out, not as an employee, but as a witness. Miss Brooks? Dana turned. Will you be staying with us tonight? Dana considered. Then, for the first time all day, she smiled fully. I already am. The revolving doors turned behind her. Dana stepped onto the sidewalk, bright afternoon sun washing the city in gold. She paused. New security, new briefcase, new assistant, just her. People passed by. Some recognized her from the video now spreading online. Others didn't, and that was fine. Her heels tapped steady across the concrete. She didn't walk like someone who had won. She walked like someone who belonged. Then her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She let it ring once, twice, then checked the message. Footage reviewed. Entire board impressed. Full support for national rollout. We want you leading it, Dana. Let's make every lobby a place of truth. No emojis, no fluff, just facts. The kind that change trajectories. Dana stood still for a moment. Wind moved the edge of her blazer. She looked up, not at a sign, not at a building, just the skyline. The vast, shifting line between what is and what could be. She tapped a reply with one hand. Schedule the meeting. Then pocketed the phone. She didn't need celebration. She didn't need closure, because this wasn't the end. It was the beginning of a world where respect wasn't requested, but required. Where lobbies didn't sort people by skin, speech, or suit. Where power didn't scream, it stood still and let the room catch up. Dana Brooks walked on. No headlines followed her, but the future would.